Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Tim's Off Grid. This episode I'm going to call Return of the Life Tent, as opposed to the last one, which was The Life Tent Strikes Again. It's going to rain pretty good over the next couple days. I'm going to do my best to prepare the life tent to survive in these conditions. So I got these two Leland cypress trees right here. We're going to mount life tent with its guy wire and get life tent set up for success. I'm going to put some camping gear in there, etc. And without further delay, let's get into this. Welcome back to Return of the Life Tent. So the easiest thing I could find, because I don't have a lot of rocks around here, was just to fill some of our water jugs that we use for camping. This pad is going to simulate about the average length of a person who's in here, so we know how much room we have to deal with to get these ends closed up. So as you can see right now, this end's wide open and that end's wide open. We got the storm coming, so we got to seal this up. So y'all got to stay tuned to see how this goes over the next day or so. So this is the setup before the storm, Return of the Life Tent. I probably shouldn't have watched the manufacturer's video where they said, hey, it can take on wind, rain, it can be reused, etc., etc. So we're going to put life tent through the paces. We got some gear in here. I use these water jugs to hold the life tent in place to give it shape. They're claimed to be 3 to 4 feet tall. I'm sitting up in here, so maybe that claim is pretty good. Now, I've left rooms on the end because we're going to figure out how to seal this up. That's going to be the only way that this thing can take on the rain. So you're also going to have to tune back in and see in a couple days if this thing survives. I want you to see an example of how I sealed up the life tent. So I picked up the bottom, folded over the side, the two sides, folded them over, overlapped the middle, taped it all the way down, taped it on both sides of the overlap, came back and taped here. This thing's sealed up pretty well. All right, looking inside, you'll see where I folded up the bottom. I folded over this side, overlapping that side, as you can see there. And I taped it real well outside. So I've done the best I can with it. The only other thing I can do is tape it from the inside also. Okay. The other end, you would have to do it yourself from inside. You would take the bottom and bring the bottom up like so. You would take the sides and overlap the bottom. And you would do that on both sides. All right, and you would hold this up with, you'd have two hands obviously. You'd hold this up, you'd overlap that. You tape this up here from the inside, but you need to leave you some air circulating. I also want to say that I'm going to lay back so you can get a sense for, yep. With it fully taped up, I can almost extend my legs all the way. So you're going to lose a little bit of length. You're going to lose a little bit of length in here, but you can almost stretch out all the way. And maybe you can, but I'm going to say if you're over like 5'9", 5'10", you may have a hard time in here with it sealed up. Why am I sealing this up? Want to see how well it does during a storm. So I'm going to seal it from the outside, and then we're going to see how it goes. One final look from the inside. Sailor Jerry, he's laid out in here. He's about 5'9" or so. He's laying on the sleeping mat. So how wet Sailor Jerry is in his sleeping mat and his backpack, that's going to tell us how well this does. So I'm going to get this sealed up on the outside. See you in a few. We've got both ends of the life tent sealed up. We're going to see how the life tent does over the course of the day. I'll check it when I get home from work tomorrow, and we'll see if Sailor Jerry is wet in there, or if his sleeping mat's wet, or if his gear's wet. We'll see how life tent holds up to rain and wind tonight. And remember too, if you've got a lot of Mylar on you, and you're actually in there breathing, you're probably going to have a heck of a lot of condensation. So obviously you'd have some vent holes for air exchange and condensation exchange, etc. But for Sailor Jerry, he doesn't need any air exchanges. And let's see how he does. Remember, Return of the Life Tent. We're out.